Welcome to this video on finding t of alpha over 2 in RGuroo. Let's begin. After watching this video, you should be able to find t of alpha over 2 using RGuroo. In general, this is the picture that we want to develop. So in the middle, we have shaded the confidence level, which is also equal to 1 minus alpha. The area in this left unshaded tail, as well as the area in this right unshaded tail, both areas are equal to alpha over 2. And delineating values, in other words, the values that start and end the shaded region, are negative and positive t of alpha over 2. So this is the image we're going to be recreating for each of our problems. Additionally, we are going to be using the RGuroo t calculator. So if you want to, you can pause this video and pay attention to each step. I will also be showing this process in real time. All right, let's look at this first example. So we are told in this example that n is equal to 12 and that our confidence level is 90%. So let's go ahead and fill out our confidence level. So it says our confidence level is 90%. So let's get a rough sketch down on this graph, on this picture, just to visualize what this is telling us. So what this is saying is that the middle 90%, the area under this curve here, right, is 90%. Okay, so let's go ahead and label that. And then let's label the area in the tails. So the first thing I want to do is I have to find alpha. So remember that alpha is equal to 1 minus the confidence level. Okay, so we have 1 minus 90% or 0.9. So that's 0.10 or 10%. So then, as you can see from this table, we need to take that value, that 10%, and we need to divide it by 2. So 10% divided by 2 is going to be 5% or 0.05. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's call it 0.05. So let's change all of these labels to decimal so that we can be internally consistent here. So my area here is 0.9. The area over here, let's change the color here. So the area in this left tail here is alpha over 2. And again, we said that that is 0.05. Likewise, the area in this right tail is also 0.05. Okay, so the last thing that we need is we need our t values. So this is going to be negative t of alpha over 2, and this is going to be positive t of alpha over 2. And unfortunately, we cannot go any further until we use our technology to find those two values. So I'm going to be using RGuroo. So in RGuroo, once you're logged in, you're going to go to probability simulation, and then probability calculator, and continuous. And then from the drop-down menu, we're next to where it says distribution, we're going to select the student t. So then we have a lot of options here. So the first thing we want to do, because we want to feed this thing a probability and have it give us the t values, we're going to select this second button right here. The next thing I have to do is that I want to select between tails so I can feed it the area to the left and to the right. So this is the area in the lower tail, this is the area in the upper tail. So you hopefully recall from the image you just saw, the area in the lower tail, or alpha over 2, was 0.05, as well as the area in the upper tail. Okay. The other thing is we need to feed it this degrees of freedom. So remember n was 12, 12 minus 1 is 11, so the degrees of freedom is 11. So now I believe we have all the information, so if we wanted to, we could just hit this button right here, and we would have our t values. However, what I like to do is I like to hit this graph button right here, and then hit this preview, because that way, when I do it, I can see visually exactly what we are looking for here. Okay? And the reason that's so important is because it's really easy for me to select one of those options incorrectly or type in the wrong thing, and so this just really helps me visualize what we're looking at. So as you can see, our t values are approximately negative 1.8 and positive 1.8. So having used technology, we found that our t of alpha over 2 is 1.8. So the left value is going to be negative 1.8 and the right value is positive 1.8. So now our picture is complete. Let's do another example. So now we have example 2. This time we are given a sample size of n equals 8 and a confidence level of 83%. So let's go ahead and fill in these values. So we have a confidence level of 83%. So again, if we want to visualize that, we're not trying to get anything perfect at all. We're just saying, generally speaking, that the area in between these two values is 83%. Okay, so now the question is, okay, well, what is the area in this tail and what's the area in this tail? So we know that the area in the two tails combined is alpha, and we know that the formula for alpha is 1 minus the confidence level. So alpha is going to be 1 minus 0.83, which is 0.17. So then we want not alpha, but alpha over 2. So we have 0.17 divided by 2, which is 0.085. So you will say that the area over here in this left tail is 0.085, and the area over here in this right tail is also 0.085. Okay, so and if we want to label these generically, we know that this is alpha over 2, this is alpha over 2, and in the middle this is 1 minus alpha, or it's also equal to the confidence level. So last but not least, we need to label negative and positive t of alpha over 2. Okay, and again, we can't do this without technology, so we have to go over to whatever statistical calculator we're using to find these values. So we're back in RGuroo. Let's bring up our menu again. Okay, so this time I believe we had a sample size of 8, so 8 minus 1 is 7, so our degrees of freedom is 7, and our alpha over 2 was 0.085. So those are the values that we need to change. So then let's go ahead and hit this button right here. Okay, so you can see our t values are right here, and again, if you scroll down, you get a visualization of what this graph looks like. And doing that, we find that our t values are negative and positive 1.5295, and so now our picture is complete. All right, let's do one more example. So this time we have a sample size of 17 and a confidence level of 87. So let's go ahead and start filling this in. So we have an 87% confidence level. So again, what we're trying to do is find the t values that separate this middle 87% from these two tails. Okay, so if we want to find alpha, remember alpha is equal to 1 minus 0.87. So that is 0.13, and then alpha over 2 is going to be 0.13 over 2, which is 0.065. So we can fill that in, 0.065. Okay, so now we can label that area on the graph. So that's the two tails over here. So again, both tails have an area of 0.065. Oops, like so. Okay, and then last but not least, we need to know what about the t values. And again, we can't know the values of positive or negative t of alpha over 2 without using technology. Okay, so we're back in RGuroo one more time. So our degrees of freedom was, I believe, 17. Sorry, our n was 17 rather. So our degrees of freedom is going to be 16, and our alpha over 2 was 0.065. So we put that there and there. And we hit this little eyeball, and again you can scroll down to see the picture, so you can see the t values right here. So using technology, we find out that t is 1.5962, negative and positive. Okay, so we can come over here and replace our symbolic notation with actual numbers. So we have negative 1.5962 and positive 1.5962, and our picture is complete. So having watched this video, you should now be able to find t of alpha over 2 using RGuroo.